Very good. All right. Well, welcome everyone to the second annual Physical Therapy Shark Tank, brought to you by the APTA Academy of Leadership and Innovation. My name is Diana Peterson, and I am thrilled to be joined here today by my colleague, Heather Althus, in the background from the Academy staff. We're so excited to have you join us for what promises to be an inspiring event today. We're honored today to have ALI member Rebecca Tarbert, physical therapist, be our facilitator today. She's a member of the APTA since 1999. And Rebecca's career has evolved from clinical care to her current role as Vice President of Clinical Programs at a health tech startup company, a position she's held since 2018. In addition, she serves as the Vice President of our Academy's Technology and PT Special Interest Group. Rebecca will guide us through today's event, and I want to thank you all once again for being here. Let's go ahead and dive in. Rebecca?
Thank you, Diana, and thank you also, Heather. So it's so great to have everybody here today. Thanks for joining us for the 2025 Shark Tank event, sponsored by the Academy of Leadership and Innovation, which is a component of the American Physical Therapy Association. The mission of the Academy is to promote health equity and value in healthcare through best practices in advocacy, leadership, and innovation. Heather. If you're a member of the APTA, we encourage you to consider joining the Academy of Leadership and Innovation to access the many resources, including our various catalyst groups and our special interest groups that are designed to support and represent practitioners with shared interests. This is our second Shark Tank event, and we're excited to have you joining us this year. We've had 19 entries this year submitted on various innovations, from ideas to prototypes to products already on the market. Last year, we had 380 people register for this event and 230 people attended. And based on the feedback that we got from that inaugural session, this year, we're only including submissions that have already established intellectual property protection. And that way we can offer everybody attending today the experience of hearing each of our finalist pitches and the Q&As. The process of bringing an idea to market can take years, and its pathway can be very long, from the idea to concept development to market research, product design, prototype, manufacturing, and finally launch. We were able to review innovations within all of these stages with a committee utilizing a rubric for assessment, including questions like, what problem are you solving? How do you compare to similar products? Who is your target user? And what is your value proposition? Our committee had the very difficult task of narrowing them down to the 4 finalists that you are going to hear from today, with some scoring so close that we spent much time deliberating. And we wanted to share those who were closest to that finalist choice as our runner-ups, as you saw in the honorable mentions, rotating before we kicked off today. The winner of our Shark Tank event last year was Jenna Lemmers. She has grown from that opportunity and is now successfully making sales of her product called GiggleFit since participating last year in our inaugural event. Jenna will be at Technopalooza next month if you're at CSM, and she'll be there with her innovation, GiggleFit. And she'll be even offering a unit as a door prize. But unfortunately, she's unable to be with us here today. But here to share instead his experience with the innovation pathway is Darren Trees, who was a finalist in our 2024 Shark Tank event last year. We're going to show a little video in just a second. Bear with us.
Hey, my name is Darren Trees, and last year on Shark Tank, I pitched a product called the Moveo Mini. The Mini is an in-bed portable leg press for patients who are unable to safely stand due to leg weakness. It provides up to 50 pounds of progressive resistance and simulates the sit-to-stand activity. It also allows extra gaming with our Moveo Play app, allowing users to play games while exercising. Well, just an update, about a few days after the event, I was contacted by a large medical distributor who saw the event and said, we want to sell your device globally. So that gave us an incentive to go ahead and make the molds and mass produce the device. In August, the molds were made, and just 3 weeks ago, we received 1,000 units of our own invention, and we have now shipped them to Switzerland, Canada, all across the US, and they'll soon be on Amazon. You can currently purchase the Mini on www.themoveo.com. It was a pleasure having the opportunity to present on Shark Tank, and just a little bit of advice to inventors. First, large distributors will be watching this event, so make your pitch good. Second, any advice to the inventors would be to, if you have an idea that can possibly improve patient outcomes, make a prototype, test it, and never give up. That's probably the biggest thing, is just persistence is key in inventing. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing what you create.
Thank you, Darren, for sharing that video with us. I see that you're attending today too, so thanks for being here. So next we're going to introduce our judges. So for this year's Shark Tank. So let's get kicked off. Jamie, would you mind doing a little introduction of yourself for us?
Excellent. Thank you. I'm excited to be here for the second year. My name is Jamie Stouffer, and I've been a therapist now, physical therapist, for 15 years. And for the last 10 years, I devoted most of my career to working with some of the leading manufacturers and distributors in the space for rehabilitation specifically.
Thank you. Paul?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm excited to be here. My name is Paul Sabin. My background is in mechanical engineering, and for about 15 years, I ran a product design consulting company that helped startups and bigger companies bring products to market. And right now I'm at the Move Lab at Harvard, where we work to try to translate rehabilitation and assistive wearable robotics out of the research area and into commercial applications.
Excellent. Thank you. Judy?
I'm Judy Deutsch. I'm a professor of rehabilitation and movement science at Rutgers University. And for the past 25 years, our lab has been building virtual environments for different rehabilitation applications, with an interest of translating the technology out of the lab and into the clinic. And we've had experiences with the STTR and the NSF I-Core processes. And I'm delighted to be back here for the second time.
Yeah, thank you. And as you can see, our judging panel has a great amount of experience across a wide variety of innovations. So I'm really looking forward to the interactions that we're going to have today. So as Diana described earlier, each of our finalists have provided a short video pitch. We're going to play each of those for you. There'll be about 3 minutes each. And then after each of those, there'll be a 7-minute session of Q&A between the judges and that contestant only. Audience members are going to remain muted throughout the event, but if you have a question or a comment that you would like to pose to anybody here in today's event, please feel free to put that in the chat, and they'll be able to look at it after the event is over to consider that thought that you want to share. So here we go. So first off, we're going to welcome Doug Adams with his product, Run DNA.
My name is Doug Adams, and I'm the founder of Run DNA. I'd like to thank the APTA Academy of Leadership and Innovation for allowing us to participate in this year's Shark Tank competition. Run DNA has a mission called 100 Happy Healthy. And what this means is that we want people to live to be 100 years old, happy and healthy when they get there. And the way that we do this is by making gait analysis easier for providers, more valuable for clients, and more productive for the businesses that are offering the service. We provide education and technology for medical and fitness professionals. Few will argue that focusing on function is critical for physical therapy, but fewer people are looking at one of the most functional activities that almost every patient does, which is walking. A large factor in why gait analysis is rarely done is that current methods take too long and fail to provide actionable data. The lack of gait analysis being done in the physical therapy profession presents a large problem because gait limitations contribute to conditions like knee and hip osteoarthritis, lower back pain, and deadly fall risks. The challenge with the current state of the profession is that providers lack the tools that they need to make gait analysis effective. 2D systems are slow and inaccurate, while markerless systems struggle with non-stationary activities like walking or running, or they come at high prices for improved accuracy. It takes on average 32 minutes to do a 2D gait analysis according to recent literature. In an already busy clinical environment, it's no wonder that gait analysis is not being done. Helix 3D is a portable marker-based motion analysis system designed to help clinicians get results. Trusted by the US military, top professional athletes, and innovative PT clinics around the globe, the Helix 3D can provide research-grade data in under 4 minutes. Advanced algorithms and comprehensive education are the backbone of the Helix, turning data into proven results. From fall risk to first place, the Helix is a leader in gait analysis for improving outcomes and boosting performance. The physical therapy profession needs to go beyond collecting data and start to integrate key functional activities such as walking and running gait. Providing screening to identify risk is not enough to protect the position of the physical therapy profession in the future of healthcare. We need to focus on critical technology, such as the Helix 3D, that can identify the root cause of an issue and provide proven ways to get results. In a world of growing competition and shrinking reimbursement, PT clinics need opportunities to diversify their revenue streams and attract patient and talented employees. With over 130 sites using our 3D technology and over 12,000 people taking our continuing education courses, Run DNA wants to be the backbone that makes gait analysis mainstream. We hope to work with the APTA Academy of Leadership and Innovation to raise awareness and develop an understanding of barriers and strategies to help clinics adopt technology that can have life-changing results, both for their clients and for their businesses. Thank you for your consideration of Run DNA. We hope to join with the Academy in building the future of the PT profession.
Excellent. So I have 2 questions in regards to this particular product. My first one is, in the world of data, we tend to see with products that you can have a ton of data, but when we get them into the fast-paced environment of a clinic, we need that to be able to digest easy. Talk to me how you're taking all of this stuff, all of this data, and making it digestible for the quick therapist on the move.
Yeah, great point. If you're not doing anything with what you're looking at, what's the point in looking, right? So what we did is starting in 2019, we got SBIR grants with the Air Force, and we developed algorithms that interpret the data and puts everyone into different categories. So what we're seeing is that there maybe isn't a perfect way to run or walk, but there are imperfect ways that can contribute to injuries or loss of performance or loss of function. So that's what we started off in 2019, is putting the category, and each category has a specific gait retraining program that is delivered electronically. So in that 4 minutes to get it, you're not only getting an analysis, but you're actually getting a program. And then in 2024, last year, we expanded and used evidence-based ways to provide a score, where we actually identified there are 28 significant variables. Of all the variables that we measure, there are 28 variables that contribute to healthy walking and 29 variables that are different that contribute to healthy running. And we can provide a score where lower is better. And based off of that score, we're able to identify the primary and secondary factors that are the biggest limiters of why they scored higher than we would like them to. And each of those factors has a specific gait retraining program. So exactly to your point, we can very quickly and easily assign a program that matches what the data is providing for us.
That's fantastic.
Can I
my second question,
because I have
go
a
ahead, Judith.
data question, Jamie. Just with all of these data, Doug, have you all published anything to show your validation and your algorithms, or is it proprietary?
Yeah, so we have validated the system for accuracy and reliability, and then the U.S. military has done studies that are not publishable about this. In one study, we're allowed to share the results, but we can't publish it. We did a study of 87 recruits going through training, and what we were able to find is that there was an average of a 90-second improvement on their 1.5-mile run by improving their running economy, by improving their gait and doing the gait retraining using that algorithm that we developed in 2019. There are 2 universities actively using the new scoring system to identify at-risk individuals for specific populations.
Great. Could you just tell us what those populations are? Because I understand the military has high performing
Yes.
individuals, so I'm just curious about the breadth of the service.
Yeah, so we're a very typical total knee population is one of the first studies that is being looked at, and then a much more specific lower back pain study as well, looking at that because gait has actually been shown throughout the literature to be a significant predictor for lower back pain and a limiter for ongoing recurring for low back pain as well.
Great, thank you.
I guess I had a question. Sounds like this system is being used in a bunch of places. Can you talk a little bit about, who pays for it and what they pay for it and what the benefit is to them? Do they then charge for this service when they do an analysis? And then maybe a little bit about the just overall market size opportunity that you think is addressable.
Yes, there are quite a few people that walk, so the market size is pretty large in potential for that aspect of it. But to speak to our customers and more of the B2B aspect of it, those 130 sites are primarily outpatient physical therapy practices. And a lot of with declining reimbursements and actually hitting the point where inflation has outmatched the cuts that we're seeing in reimbursement, a lot of people are looking to add this as a diversified revenue platform. So we see people who typically offer two types of services, what we call a gait consult or a gait screen, which is a lower cost analysis that is just basically the analysis where you're doing, this could be anywhere from $50 to $100 that people are adding on. They're coming before or after their typical physical therapy visit, and they're using this with that population. The typical patient will need it 2 to 3 times during a plan of care to evaluate, reassess, and then assess learning. And then there's a larger, more expensive offering where you do a 60 to 90 minute evaluation that ranges from $250 to $500 for the evaluation. So we're seeing a lot of it. It's used in insurance-based settings as they're looking to add more cash-based services. It's being used, it can be billed under certain codes, neuromuscular reeducation, therapeutic activity for the analysis, as well as for the gait retraining programs. Some places are able to even do a code 97750 as a therapeutic functional activity assessment because the computer generates the code or the report. So that's a lot of how people are utilizing it across those different sites, both as a way to get clinical data, but also to bring people into the practice.
Great.
Who are your competitors?
We look at the competitors a couple different ways. There's the competitor at all is somebody saying good enough of just pulling out an iPhone and looking at it there and saying that they're doing a gait analysis. Then on the more motion analysis spectrum, there are a couple competitors in the space. Some are trying to use markerless solutions, but markerless solutions really struggle with non-stationary activities. So they can do fine even for a squat. But if you even saw on my video, if you look at the video closely, the foot for the markerless is about 3-4 inches behind the actual person there. And we see that markerless is not quite there for gait yet. It has a lot of trouble with the foot. So our marker-based solution is still the gold standard with it. But there are very few, if any, companies that are really doing anything where they actually do the prescriptive nature and providing the education. We actually started as an education company that built technology to support what we found was the backbone of getting results, which is our clinical reasoning and our clinical judgment. We're just making it a little easier for people to apply that and get a return on their investment.
Thank you so much. This has been a terrific question to answer, and I'm sure that there's many more questions that they would love to pose to you, Doug, but we are ready to move on to our second contestant. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our second contestant is Ben Cooksey with his innovation Compress On.
Good morning. My name is Ben Cooksey, and I'm here from Torchwood Ltd, here to talk about a solution to a swelling problem that many of our patients deal with. That's me really enjoying being on a boat on the left, and those are my two business partners, Nick and Tim. Tim is also a therapist. And this issue stems from our observations in a clinical setting that many people require lower body compression to manage their medical issues. So whether it's vascular disease, heart failure, lymphedema, orthopedic problems, whatever the case may be. And anyone that's ever had the displeasure of having to put on lower body compression, especially with any significant pressure, knows that it's just a miserable task. It takes a lot of force to spread, to lift, a lot of dexterity, and it's just a pretty miserable problem. And the clinic we worked in had a couple of lymphedema specialists, so we generally decided that if we were going to try to tackle this issue, that we would aim to help as many of these folks as we possibly could, because they're ultimately the ones that could probably benefit from it the most. Those of you that may not know as intimately, lymphedema causes chronic swelling, so especially in the lower extremities. Their therapy is a lot of manual drainage and compression is kind of how you manage this condition that is not curable. So there are solutions for lower body garments, but they generally still require a lot of strength or dexterity or a stiff learning curve. Sock aids generally help you get to the heel and not a lot further. So our approach is that we need to mechanize this to give power to the spreading of the garment as well as the lifting and lowering. So we decided to start iterating on this with a Home Depot run a couple of years back. We had an ideation session with an outfit out of Cleveland called Magnet, and we've just been working on improving this ever since. So what you'll see here is my wife demonstrating. She's operating two different switches on the little black box on the units. One sends the cart away from her and then pulls it back up. The other spreads or approximates the two halves of the interface for the garment. The garment is always in between skin and device, because that's a biggie for us. So she'll make a minor adjustment here, which will spread it a little further as it's raising, because those two motors work independently. And then as we conclude the video, she'll just finish off by getting it beyond that last little bit of the knee. So I'm very excited about where this is so far. I think we've come a long way, but we could use some assistance and collaboration from other creatives and people with a little bit more engineering know-how to really get it over the goal line. And that's why we're here. So we could not be more grateful and humbled to be considered, and we hope that you'll help us bring this solution to the patients that very much need it. Thank you very much.
Excellent. We sell a lot of sock aids, a lot of volume of this product. And one of the biggest reasons why is because of the end user cost and the accessibility for the patients to access that item. So can you speak to me where you would like this to land from a retail perspective for the end user?
Absolutely. I can definitely see a world where there's a couple different variations where we have a bariatric versus a more standard size unit, or a commercial for facilities-based version versus an at-home. But in design and selecting components, we're trying to land in the $400 to $500 range, because there is cost in some of the motorized components, to be sure. But in this space where the lymphedema pumps might run $1,500, the garments are $150 and need to be replaced every 90 days. Like, I think boosting compliance justifies a little bit of a spend for the kind of patients that need this.
And I have a question. It looks like your prototype worked great in that demo, and then you ended with I need some help to kind of do the next stage. Like, what have you learned from building that prototype, and what are you still doing on the development side to kind of get towards production?
We have learned new uses for shin guards from soccer, because that shape to be forgiving and be a little bit more rounded, to accept a garment without tear points. Mm-hmm. That's honestly the best thing we've come up with thus far, but I think that could be improved from a 3D printing rendering standpoint. It needs to be a little bit more powerful, so how to pack a punch from a voltage standpoint and still being compact and light and being able to slide underneath a bed or a chair, kind of serving both of those masters. Because we still definitely need some more power behind it, and then just to make it a more market-ready product from a look and feel standpoint, because that's definitely also a camera slide. So,
Great. Have you tried it with any patients?
We have not yet. We've solicited a lot of feedback from patients and from therapists, because it was readily available in the clinic where I work. but it's not quite beefy enough yet to be strong enough to be meaningful for a patient that would need it. But there's several in mind that would get the first ones off the rack if we get it to work.
Right.
Yeah, that was my question about usability. For the people that have tried it, like what do they tell you are the problems with it? Like I was just trying to think how I would do putting it on, using it. And so I'm not sure what ages of people you've looked at. I mean, in your small unit of people, did anybody have swelling? Like, did anybody have discomfort in their leg? Or really you just had a subset of people that just sort of say, here's what I think.
It's more tailoring the solution to the problem. So those other different devices, people can do part of them, but not all of them, and often end up either not using compression at all, or they have to hire home health or whatever the case may be. Our prototype as it sits, the hardest part, we'd like the interface to be on a remote control as opposed to the buttons that you have to lean over and interact with, but that's doable. The most challenging part besides that is, as currently constructed, we have to lift your leg and kind of hold it there while the rising and lowering is happening. So a few other folks that have tried it, we've put a padded strap that they hold with their hand just to help keep the leg up. And we're working on solutions to that part of it. That's probably the main thing, is just having to be able to lift your leg up and hold it there for X amount of time.
And what aspect of your product is protected? Like, what is your IP?
We have not a design patent, it's a utility patent.
Utility.
Yeah. And we're pending on that. That was first submitted in October.
Your utility patent is pending.
Yes.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions from the panel?
Just to clarify, this is something you see an individual owning in their home, and they would be spending around $500 to have this.
Yes.
Okay, so you're looking at people who have ongoing needs for compression, not chronic needs of compression management, not acute. Okay. And I just didn't quite catch what's the universe of people who would need that, like in terms of your market.
So the overall compression market is supposed to get to $3.4 billion by 2032. From an engineering standpoint, we always want to aim for folks with lymphedema, because I think that's the hardest design-wise to reach for, and that's 10 million Americans that have that condition. But then if we broaden the net for folks with congestive heart failure or peripheral vascular disease, that N could get much larger. But that's just who we keep in mind, because that's ultimately who I think needs it the most.
Great, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you to the judges for this engaging session. Next up, we have Brad Prophet, who's going to be presenting to us on his product, Halo.
Hey there, Brad Prophet. I'm a physical therapist. I'm also a chiropractor. I'm here today to talk to you about a unique product that I've been given the opportunity through the Academy of Leadership Shark Tank to tell you about. This product is called the Halo Cervicor, and it is exactly what the name implies. It is a device that you wear on your head, kind of looks like a halo, and it trains the cervical core musculature. By cervical core musculature, I mean the small, local, intrinsic spinal stabilizers, the ones that we often have a really hard time rehabbing post-injury, concussion, whiplash, you name it. This product is unique. It's unlike any other product on the market. This product has a portal of entry, so it has fluid in it, so it's dynamic, number one. Number two, we have adjustability with this. Not only can we add the volume to the degree that we want, but we can also, through this same portal of entry, we have 6 ball bearings that come with this that adds additional weight. So this thing's up to about 2 pounds when it's all said and done. We have a unique thing here on the front for a laser pointer. clips right in. So as you're doing sensory motor training, this product works. Here's the unique thing about it. This thing provides real-time, real-world contraction through perturbations. So not only do we get isometric, concentric, and eccentric contractions, but we get them in an environment of real-world kind of transition when we turn our head, look up, down, stop, acceleration, so forth. Product is really cool. Kind of looks like a chef's hat or a graduation tam. You put it on. We recommend that you do a cervical nod, so you flex your head on the neck, a side to side, doing the same thing, a circle to the right, a circle to the left, and then figure of eights. What this product does is it allows you to train your neck at home during your own time and help you support the gains that you may be getting with your therapist when you're in rehab. We're very excited about the Halo Cervicor. We're hoping that it's going to help thousands, if not millions of people who suffer from headaches, whiplash, all sorts of things. So thank you for the opportunity to tell you about our product, and I look forward to what we can do together.
Excellent. Thank you. One of the questions I have for you, it's kind of a split question, but is the item wipeable in terms of if they were to utilize this within the clinic? Infection prevention is a consistent conversation. And I'm going to go ahead and sneak in my second question while you answer. You probably will do this all together, but is there a visual component to that? It looks like it's stopped above the above your eyes, but is there a capability to incorporate to eliminate the visual aspect of vestibular balance?
Okay, to answer your first question, yes, it's very wipeable, but you can also use disposable head nap, like surgical headgear from patient to patient if you use them in the clinic. The ideal component of this is for the end user to use at home to support themselves between rehab. So from myself, I don't really need to sterilize it, but in the clinic, if you're using it over and over again between patients, then yeah, you certainly would wipe it down with a germicide, and then or use the surgical kind of hat. You can certainly cover the eyes with it should you want to remove the visual field to stimulate the vestibular system. But as I mentioned, there's a component up top for a laser pointer for sensory motor. So we're getting ready to look at this with Neck Care. It's a device that measures sensory motor mapping, as well as range of motion and joint air position. So we're in the process of looking at that, but ideally it's meant to be used with your eyes open.
Can you explain how the biofeedback works, and is it calibrated individually to each user? I wasn't sure I understood how it worked.
Okay, so imagine if you're in the ocean and you turned around, you're looking at the shoreline, and you get hit behind from a wave, right? If the wave's small enough, you'll use an ankle strategy. If the wave is bigger than that, you'll use a hip strategy. If the wave's even bigger than that, you'll use a step strategy. So what the product does is it's unique to each end user, depending on the volume and the weight that they use. So the perturbations, as the water moves, it creates an anticipatory motor control of the small spinal stabilizers. So there's really no feedback. It would be very difficult, number one, to get needle EMG into the small intrinsic spinal stabilizers, and surface EMG, we would get noise from the external, the large prime movers. So as you use this product, the best way I know to describe it is imagine if you had a small coffee can inside of a large coffee can. The small coffee can is the muscles against the vertebral bodies. The large coffee cans are your SCM, your larger, more head movement on torso, the large muscles. So we're training the smaller ones inside the larger ones. What Panjabi coined as the neutral zone. So we're using the small intrinsic muscles individually while we're not allowing the larger prime movers to bully or take over. That tends to be the problem with most cervical rehab. We train in a single plane. We don't really get concentric to isometric to eccentric type of contractions in a real world environment. So I'm not sure if I answered your question or not. You maybe if you rephrase it.
Do you have any data to validate this? I was just curious.
Yes, I've done some. I teach at Marshall University in the School of Physical Therapy, and I've done some capstone with it. I also did my dissertation for it. My manuscript is unpublished, but we have seen that wearing this thing for 6 weeks, 3 days a week in a healthy population has changed the deep neck flexor endurance through the longus colli.
Thank you.
And how about from intellectual property standpoint? Do you have a patent on this, and what are the features that you're trying to patent?
So my partner that I work with is from San Diego, California, and we're operating underneath the patent that he currently has. He has been in the market of head weighting for a number of years, and so this component, through his work and his patent, we've added a dynamic component.
And I saw the one that you held up. Is that a prototype, or have you made a bunch of them? Like, what stage are you in and being able to bring it to
we are
market?
ready to go. So the majority of the product, we're making one component of it here in Huntington, West Virginia. We're 3D printing it. That's the connector. The rest of the product is manufactured in San Diego, but we are very much market ready.
And how much do you think it'll cost to make, and what do you think you're going to sell it for?
Well, our cost is going to be around $25 per unit. We plan to sell the unit to the provider for $69, and then let them turn around and sell it to the patient for $89. So physical therapists can make $20 per unit.
You've mentioned several kind of whiplash, some various cervical diagnoses. Have you explored this all with migraines, headaches?
Well, not specifically with migraines per se, but certainly tension-based headaches. When we think about the small intrinsic rectus capitis posterior minor major, the anterior muscles of the neck, when they get out of balance, obviously that's going to generate some potential for tension, whether you get some greater or lesser occipital nerve impingement. And so the goal here is to restore balance in that area. And I think by doing that, as muscle tone changes, we know that with some compression, there's some changes in the H wave on needle EMG. And so we're fully expecting that there is muscle relaxation that occurs as we bring these muscles back online. Really, to sum it up for you, think of it as kids on a playground. You have little kids who want to play, but then you have bigger kids who tend to bully. When you have an injury, often the little guys don't really come back online quickly, and the larger guys will continue to take over. And so what this does is this brings about parity, allowing the little guys to get back online, find balance, find relaxation. And so I'm anxious to see what it will do with tension headaches. But honestly, with the evidence that's coming out with concussions, being that the large percentage of people with concussion have a cervical component, I think it's going to have a major impact on the concussion market.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation, Brad, and for all the deliberation that went on with our panel. So we're coming to our fourth contestant, and this is Casey Charlebois with EchoMind AI.
Hello, my name is Dr. Casey Charlebois, physical therapist, co-founder and chief medical officer of EchoMind AI, where we make ultrasound diagnostics easy. EchoMind AI is honored to be a finalist in the second annual Shark Tank. I'd like to introduce you to the EchoMind AI team. We're a small team of 7, but I have listed the successes that we've been able to achieve over the past couple years, and also where we definitely need some help and we've got room to grow. Our ultimate business goal is that we want to build AI technology that allows any practitioner to perform a musculoskeletal ultrasound exam in less than 10 minutes. Our digital innovation includes a working telesonography platform. We want to build a guidance system, color coding of anatomical structures, and also pathology detection. Looking at the overall market for musculoskeletal ultrasound is massive, but still untouched. Only 2% of procedures in regards to ultrasound is used, especially orthopedic and musculoskeletal applications. You can see the growth over the next 4 years. Although ultrasound has proven to be just as valid and reliable as MRI, there's still a lot of barriers in regards to its lack of adoption, especially in the physical therapy profession. Our device agnostic patented telesonography platform allows anyone to send 30-second videos for expert review. Research will show that it's easy to learn how to collect the images It's a bit more challenging in order to learn how to interpret. So you scan, we review. Here's an example of what we built with our limited resources regarding our plans for our guidance system and color coding. We're going to start with the shoulder and identifying those structures, and then moving on to other body parts, including the hip, knee, ankle, foot, wrist, hand, and elbow. This is an example of our pathology detection system. So we have built basically a true false model in which we have gone in and labeled images in order to identify those pathologies. So again, we basically want to make the probe do everything from producing that guidance system as to where to put the probe in order to find the structures, color coding the structures so they're easier to identify, and then more importantly, using that AI technology to identify those pathologies. Innovating together would be a major milestone for us. It would be great to have the support of the APTA. Also working with the Innovation Lab in order to expand our resources, get more adoption in the physical therapy profession. We need to do more research and development, market expansion, and just overall increase the market reach. We see once this software is fully completed and the probe is able to do everything for the practitioner with minimal training, we see how this can impact different areas, including the military, third world countries, and rural areas where access to healthcare is very limited. I would like to say thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit more about EchoMind AI, and also for your consideration as making us a finalist of the Shark Tank.
It's great. I love seeing a product that's entering into this space. It's definitely an area where we need to put more of a focus. One of my questions is, you mentioned being product agnostic. Are you looking at this as a software that can also be sold with other ultrasound units? Or are you looking at more as you want it all together, the diagnostic component with the probe as well as the software with the AI built in?
So we want to be hardware agnostic. So what we're finding is that a lot of the ultrasound probe companies have marketplaces where they're attaching external software or hardware onto their devices. That's part of our integration with Clarius, is that we are basically integrated with them. So if you're a Clarius user, you have their membership, you're an EchoMind AI client, then the uploading is cloud to cloud. We've had interest with Butterfly and also Hilsarion.
Excellent.
Will you be providing an actual, diagnosis from the AI system? So is this a medical device that has to be cleared by the FDA?
Yeah, so the AI detection for pathologies is our ultimate goal, and it does need, we can get 510(k) clearance because there's prototypes already out there. So our first step is to get the 510(k) clearance for our guidance system. So that's where our focus is right now in the AI. We're going to start on the biceps tendon and SACS orientation, because we can capture all of those structures in one frame, where some of the other structures we do have to kind of move the probe around in order to get the entirety. So once we get that model down, then we're hoping that we can apply the concept to the rest of the tissue structures.
Can you describe a little bit about the guidance system? Like, just describe how that works and what the user's gonna, how they're gonna do it and what they're gonna learn.
Yeah, so it's already existing in the cardiac space in OBGYN. So basically, you have the probe, you put the probe on the area, it will guide you up, down, left, right, rotation, even, because that's part of ultrasound scanning, to help you get to that structure faster.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you envision your pricing model to look like?
So right now, our diagnostic report is $35. And we chose that because the reimbursement is $50 to $100. So we wanted to make sure that if individuals are using our product, they at least can make a little bit on their side of the things in the clinic. So they might make $15 if they're going the reimbursement, or we've had some clients that are charging $150 to $200 for their ultrasound exams. So there definitely is a cash market from this, especially until we kind of figure out as clinicians where we're at in regards to billing for diagnostic ultrasound.
In terms of an overall percentage, if we're looking at the overall AI and software aspect, how far do you feel like it's complete in terms of how far down the road are you?
So I showed you what we have now. Our thing is resources. So none of us are full-time right now. We're all kind of doing this. We definitely want it to come to fruition. But the biggest thing is getting the data. So for each body part, we need about 5 million data points, which is a big reason why we built that telesonography model. So if we get 6 videos, each video has is 30 seconds, has anywhere from 200, 300 frames. So we're able to collect that data pretty quickly in order to start building and advancing those algorithms.
I saw that you had a phase 1 STTR. Have you applied for a phase 2?
Yes, we've applied for a phase 2, and actually last week we did have an interview with them. They just wanted some more clarification on our phase 2 proposal. So there is an opportunity that we could get that, but there's been some things happen this week potentially with.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
and
In
it's
a
always
perfect world, yeah,
Yeah.
I understand taking that aside, but I was
Yeah.
just curious what your deliverables were for the phase 2.
So the phase 2 is the guidance system for the biceps tendon. So we want to do that successfully, and we just explained to them the challenges of tissue recognition, especially with pathology, because of all the different moving parts of body structures and tissue structures, and how sensitive the probe is to the changes in echo texture. So we're hoping to successfully get the biceps tendon down and then explore the other options. The goal, at least within the next 2 years, is to complete models for the shoulder. So we do think there is a market for shoulder, and then expanding on onto the other body parts. But 33% of injuries are shoulder.
Yeah, that was my last question. Just where are you going to stop with an MVP? Like, because there's so many different joints that you're validating. Are you going to deploy it for shoulder only, or what's your vision for being able to go to market?
So, I mean, shoulder to start, and then again, if the training models work and we can expand into those other regions, no territory is untouched, especially from the musculoskeletal side. And the algorithm that we built for pathology detection right now is supraspinatus tendon and long axis for tendon tears. But when we go in and label, we do label for all pathologies that are seen within those frames.
And I noticed that your barriers to entry had a lot to do with education of the clinician and confidence and skill. And I understand that your solution bypasses that by doing the reading, but just in terms of just administering the technology and having it be part of entry-level education, is there what are your thoughts about that?
So for that, what we found, and like we've partnered with Seton Hall now, so they've prepaid actually for 150 readings. They're using it as kind of a quality assurance for people that are wanting to train for the RMSK exam also. And they're also using it as almost a teaching or education interactive modality for the students. And then I've had other conversations working with individuals who want to potentially implement ultrasound into the curriculum. Of course, there's a lot of barriers of that, and that's what I'm researching for my PhD project. But again, they're using it more as just an educational tool, biofeedback, just the use of technology, advancing the imaging modality.
Great, thank you.
Do you have is there anything that's patentable about the system?
So the telesonography model, we do have that patent, and that's basically based on the way that the image data collection is done and the image analysis also. And so then again, depending on how things go, we'll probably continue patents on down the road. Again, it all comes down to the resources. Technology is very expensive to build.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you so much, Casey, and thanks to all the judges for that engaging Q&A as well. So as we get ready to close out, I want to thank all the judges for their time and expertise in offering these insightful questions to all of our participants. And especially thank you to each of our final contestants. I want to also take a second to thank Megan Keiniger and Pettis Sidnodik for their time and expertise in the preparation of this event, as well as for Heather and Diana, who are on the call with us today, for sharing their resources with us and for graciously hosting from the ALI. Our judges will be sharing their scores over the next few weeks, and the winner of this year's Shark Tank will be announced during the ALI business meeting being held on February 14th at the APTA CSM conference, and then it will be shared on social media following that live announcement. If you are planning to attend CSM this year in Houston, we encourage you to attend the ALI business meeting, followed by the ALI Fest, which is where Technopalooza is being held. And if you haven't experienced Technopalooza, It's a hand-on experience with various technologies that give you the opportunity to try out different technologies and to provide feedback to those entrepreneurs and to how you would really see using it with your patients and in your clinical practice. And finally, as we get ready to leave this session together, I want to ask you all, as your members of the APTA, to consider joining the Academy of Leadership and Innovation at aptaali.org and joining us in supporting an innovative community in physical therapy practice. With that, thank you all so much for being with us today and for all of your time and the preparation and with this presentation. Thank you.